For Comedy Hype News, I'm Wellington Ojukwu. Is Gary Owen too comfortable with black people? In 1992, Gary Owen made his TV debut on BET's Comic View and has made waves on Martin Lawrence's First Amendment stand-up and has been in movies like Think Like a Man and Ride Along. Throughout the years, Gary has made headlines for his controversial racial humor. There have been several incidents where Gary has walked the line between just making jokes and being too comfortable with black people. Gary's audience is majority black, and the fact that the black audience buys tickets, fills up his shows, and laughs with him makes him think he can do no wrong and gives him even more comfort than he should have. Some of Gary's jokes and statements have got us wondering, is Gary Owen too comfortable with black audiences?
How many black kids you send to college, Black Twitter? You can a white cracker bread.
Before I address the context of Gary telling Black Twitter to suck his deviled egg, I'm going to address his most recent offense that had black people checking him and his privilege. Recently, Owen posted a picture on social media of several members of the Miami Heat kneeling during the national anthem. One member of the team, Myers Leonard, opted to stand with his hand over his chest. Leonard's decision made news headlines. According to Leonard, he is a strong supporter of BLM, but also has a brother currently serving in the military. He was conflicted because in today's climate, the choice to stand or kneel is like a line in the sand for some. Gary goes on to state this: he stands because of his conscience. His family serves in the military. Teammates understand and embrace him. Well, you don't have to kneel to support Black Lives Matter, but stop using the military as a piss-poor excuse to opt out. The military's purpose is to defend the constitutional rights of American people against foreign and domestic enemies. It's in the military oath. So police who are violating American citizens' rights are domestic terrorists. You think soldiers are fighting overseas, ducking and dodging bullets, grenades, rocket launchers while hiding in a foxhole? You think they're saying to themselves, I pray those athletes are not kneeling while Fergie sings Oh Say Can You See by the dawn's early light? Then Gary continues with, they kneel because of the conscience their family experiences inequality. He understands and embraces them. This is what it looks like to love your neighbor. Many were taken back by Gary's post because as a white person, Gary, you don't get to say what's an acceptable form of support when it comes to Black Lives Matter. We experience a lot more than just inequality. It's not just the killings in the streets, it's the killing of black women in hospitals, failing educational system for our children, mass incarceration, redlining of housing, and so much more to keep our numbers from growing and having self-sustaining economic power. You do not get to tell us what an acceptable form of support for Black Lives Matter is, Martin Luther Mayonnaise King. One of the first incidents we can think of happened in February 2018 when Monique and her husband, Sidney Hicks, accused producer Will Packer of intimidating her and trying to ruin her character. Will Packer has put Owen in a few of his movies, and as a result, Owen came to Will's defense.
And now you're going to say he's against you, when honestly, he put you in a movie Almost Christmas when nobody was putting you in movies. And he stuck his neck out and he went to bat for you. And now you throw him in under the bus. I'm not going to sit back and let you slander my friend's name like that. Will Packer is a good person. That's a...
Gary, Will Packer is a grown man, not a damsel or a Karen in distress. He can defend himself. I think you saw this as an opportunity to go in on Monique because of your personal feelings towards her. Monique saw Gary's post and didn't hesitate to respond. Gary, I hope you fight as hard for your African-American wife and daughter for the inequalities that they face. For all black people you say he's helped, why are you speaking for them? We don't need a spokesperson. With all you said, I still don't have nothing but love for you. Monique continued by tweeting, brother, just asking, is your wife, daughter proud of you? That you will be speaking out against a black woman that's fighting for equality? Will Packer is more than capable for speaking for himself, or did he designate you to be his spokesman? Black Twitter would be all through Gary's mention, with many saying this situation had nothing to do with him. Gary further addressed the problem in his 2019 Showtime special, Doing What I Do. Gary's defense for everyone who told him to stay in his lane was he put a stepson through college. For those who don't know, Gary has a black wife. His wife has a son from a previous relationship who is full black. Gary thinks because he paid for room and board tuition, that gives him the right to say whatever he wants.
Then my older son, and he mine. It's my stepson. He's full black. So basically, I sent a black kid to college that wasn't mine, and you gonna tell me stay in my lane. You can a white cracker bread.
I bet you wouldn't say this to Jewish Twitter. They repo your whole career. He also had an incident in February 2017. Owen tweeted, Adele is officially invited to every black family's BBQ. This was the same night at the 27 Grammy Awards, where Adele's 25 beat Beyonce's Lemonade for Album of the Year. Why would black people invite Adele to the barbecue after she wrongfully beat Beyonce for the biggest award of the night? During Adele's acceptance speech, even she agreed she shouldn't have won over Beyonce. As a guest on the daytime talk show The Real, Owen explained that he was traded for Stacey Dash in a racial draft, like Chappelle's show. Owen said that after he posted a tweet, it became very apparent that Owens was a guest at the barbecue. And as a guest, he's not allowed to bring any other guests.
A year ago, allegedly I got traded for Stacey Dash in a race trade.
Yeah.
So I thought this was my first chance to speak up as a black man.
Some people in the comments argue that Gary Owens was never invited himself. Look, we done with the imaginary cookout indefinitely. We're not even doing to-go plates for y'all. At this point, the only plate we passing is the collection plate, the plate for reparations. This is what happens when you invite white folks to the cookout just because they married somebody black or because they show simple human decency. On his podcast, Get Some, Owen invited Ari Spears on the show as a guest. Spears brought up the time Owen got some heat for another one of his tweets. In 2019, point guard of Portland Trailblazers, Damian Lillard, hit an unbelievable shot to advance him to the playoffs. Owen tweeted, if Portland's coach could say the N-word, that was the perfect time to say, this N-word just hit that shit. But I guess we should be okay with this because
I sent a black kid to college that wasn't mine.
Owen explained that he was scheduled to go on Jamil Hill's podcast, but she canceled on him because she wasn't a fan of the tweet. Owen knew he offended Hill, but was a little thrown off because the two were friends and had history together. Owen engaged in a back and forth with comedian Michael Blackson over the social media. The beef started when Owen made an appearance on The Breakfast Club and said that Blackson was a one-trick pony and that no one can name their favorite Michael Blackson joke. In one of Blackson's videos, he said that Owen lied about him being his opening act and claimed that Owen smelled like a wet dog. At the end of this video, Blackson dared Owen to call him the N-word. Owen saw Blackson's message and enlisted the help of his wife, Kenya Duke.
I ain't gotta say it back. My lady will say it for me. I got a down-ass chick. Michael Blackson, you punk ass.
Nigga.
Ho. Michael Blackson, you bitch ass.
Nigga.
God, I wish I could say it. I wish I could say it. I wish I could say it.
The way your wife said the N-word sounds gentrified. You done whitewashed your wife's blackness, Owen. I know. We should be okay with this because
I sent a black kid to college that wasn't mine.
While Owen is the only white comedian to host Comic View and has routinely been a part of the Shaq All-Star Comedy and recently DeMarcus Cousins Comedy Slam, one common criticism when Owen gets in trouble is that he doesn't stay in his lane. Stay out of black folks' business unless you're shining a light on the pay disparity and the lack of black-owned content in network television. Being invited to the cookout doesn't mean you're invincible or that you're above critique. We like to see you just as loud for black progress as you are when it comes to making black jokes. Just know, Gary, no one is above reproach. Black folks have supported your career from the jump and have bought so much of your merchandise and so many of your tickets to see your show that we are the ones who sent your son to college. You're welcome. Stay up to date with the latest news in Comedy Hype by subscribing here to our YouTube channel and follow Comedy Hype across all social media. For Comedy Hype News, I'm Wellington Ojukwu.